been a couple days since getting the calves weaned, and they're just about done with the symphony now. And I've been thinking that now that the calves are weaned and the grass has completely stopped growing, I've accomplished all of my bale grazing goals, which was to get hay rolled out over the entire front pasture. There's no reason why I can't feed the cows up here in the feeder, and in fact it's to my benefit at this point. So this morning the plan is to get everything in this feeder cleaned up and ready to go so that tomorrow morning I can actually use it. When I get done over here though, the goal today is to get all of my fertilizer and seed spread out at the hay field. I was out there yesterday setting out my guidance bag, so that part is all done. I just got to put the tractor on the trailer and get it moved over there. However, I will tell you right now, when I was out putting the bags out, it's wet out there. And it's been a while since we've had rain, but it seems like almost every day is cloudy like what it is today. And when the weather conditions are like this, things just don't dry up that fast. So I got a full plate. We better get after it. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. Well, there we go, clean enough to eat off of. One more job this morning. Looks like the pig feeder is empty. See, this is why it's hard for me to get anything done, because I got so many chores I got to do. Oop, pig found the hot wire. And enough complaining, nobody wants to hear it. Watch out, guys. The next one to bite my pants is gonna get kicked. That ought to make them happy for a week or so. Alright, this is the part you never know about. Well, I don't know, that engine does not seem very happy. It's sure blowing a lot of white smoke. Hopefully it'll start for the next load. I think I usually have to fill this like 3 times altogether. It takes 3 full loads to do this entire field. So I don't know, cross your fingers. It's probably hard to tell on camera, or maybe it's not, but this ground is really wet. It's too wet to be doing this, quite honestly, but I need to get it done, so it's kind of have to happen today. The weather app keeps saying that the sun is going to come out this afternoon, so I'm hoping that helps dry it up a little bit. Really, for spreading the fertilizer and the seed, it's fine if things are a little bit wet. It's not going to hurt anything. But what I'm more thinking about is when I come back with the spring tooth and the ring roller to cover the seed, if the ground is too wet, then that may or may not work. But you know, if you waited for perfect conditions, you probably never get anything done. You probably won't be able to see it on the GoPro, but I've got 3 bags in a perfectly, hopefully perfectly straight line, and that's what I use as my guidance. The bags are placed about 25 feet apart, and the spreader width is set for 25 feet. So all I've got to do is keep those bags in a line with each other, and my passes should come out relatively straight. The rule of thumb for farming is, you know, if the mud is sticking to your tires, it's too wet to be in the field. I think we're good. Well, I thought we were going to get going, but there's a problem. For some reason, the belly chain is not wanting to engage and start going. And I don't know why. I got to figure this out. Okay, I think I figured it out, and it's a problem I believe I've had before. Okay, so let me try to show you what's happening. This is the drive chain here. You can see it's supposed to ride on this pulley. And it's not, it's riding on the side, which also means it is not on the drive sprocket. So now that I've got this full of fertilizer, I got to figure out a way to get that chain onto the sprocket, and then hopefully this thing will start working. When this happened before, it just would constantly jump off of that sprocket, and I had a heck of a time. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. So should lift this up. Okay, well, it's on the sprocket now. Whether it stays on or not is the real question. This thing still doesn't work. I can see the drive chain turning. So I think the next thing I got to do, I'm just going to put the tractor in a real low gear and roll it, and I'm gonna come back here and walk beside this and see if I can figure out what's going on. That's supposed to hit something, and it's not. Well, I don't really know what I did. I just kept messing around with this thing, and I finally got it to engage. So yeah, we'll see how long it stays engaged. I don't know, it might go 10 feet. It might work the rest of the day. Well, I drove about 10 feet, maybe not even that, and it popped off again. So I'm gonna try to adjust this a little bit and see if that does anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss. Take 756. All right, I think I finally figured out the issue. There's a broken spring down here, and it's not making the dog jump onto the shaft. I get it's hard to explain. I don't fully understand it myself. I'm figuring it out as I mess with it, but I think it will stay engaged now. Because the spring is broken, I'll have to manually engage it each time, but I can still disengage it with the rope like normal. So what I'm thinking I'll probably do is just never disengage it, and we'll just we'll spread fertilizer a little bit thick in some places. That's assuming that this works. It may not work, so let's give it a try. Well, good news, the spreader started working after I manually engaged that drive chain. You know, as long as I never shut it off, it would stay on. I came up here to the tender here to refill, and I think it might have hopped off, but we'll see. At least now I know how, or I think I know how to make it work again. Okay, so if I understand this, which I may or may not, I've got the dog here hooked on this kind of rectangular thing, and that should engage the belly chain. This pin or shaft or whatever you want to call it is pushed back so that it will not disengage. So if I understand all of this right, then it should work. Well, fertilizer is done. I didn't really have too many issues once I figured out what was going on with the drive system on this spreader. Until the very end, it disengaged twice on its own, and I'm thinking that I figured out what was going on. This little arm right here was sticking out just enough to touch the dog. And I think when like the hopper was getting more empty, maybe it was taking some tension off of the system and it was allowing it to disengage. So I've got that arm tied forward as far as it will go, so that that's no longer a factor. I'm optimistic enough, you might say, that I am gonna try it, because yeah, if I get this filled full of seed and it doesn't work, then I've got a whole new problem, but I think we're gonna be good. And I'm running low on camera batteries, so you're not gonna get to see me fill this up. And I know a lot of people probably clicked on this video because they were excited about watching me put seed in the spreader. But I think instead I'm gonna pick you guys up when it's full. All right, well, there we got a ton of triticale seed, literally 2,000 pounds of triticale seed here in the spreader. That should be enough for this first half of the field. I always, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know this. If you haven't, you're about to learn that I usually plant half of this field into triticale and the other half into three-way forage mix, which is a combination of beardless wheat, oats, and beardless barley. The triticale is a wheat-rye hybrid, and I first started planting it because it allowed me to spray some different chemicals to get some of the weeds cleaned up out of this field. But now I like it for a couple of other reasons. The first one being the steers seem to finish really good on it, and they seem to really like it. But what's maybe even better than that is the fact that the mice do not like this hay. Like last year when my barn was heavily infested with mice, by the time I got into the triticale hay, I barely saw a single one. All right, well, cross your fingers, knock on wood. Let's hope this spreader makes it through. If it doesn't, I have been thinking about plan B, as I often do. And what I'll have to end up doing if this just totally does not work anymore is I'll have to go get my little red 3-point spreader, and then I can run that on the New Holland, and whenever it gets empty, I'll just have to come back and bucket the triticale seed out of this spreader into that spreader, which is not ideal, but you know, in a worst case scenario, at least we got a plan of what to do. Well, the triticale is spread out. Now I've got the forage mix here in the spreader ready to go. Triticale came out just a hair on the heavy side. So of all the passes I have marked out in the field, I came up one short, which isn't a huge deal. And I think the forage mix will flow a little bit more slowly on that belly chain because the oat seeds are so big. So this, I'm thinking, will come out perfect or light. And either way is good, because if it's light, you just go back over where you already been until it's empty. So that's where I'm at now. I'm probably gonna run out of daylight here in the next 45 minutes or so. So I'll try to film a little bit, but it's getting dark. Well, I think I better wrap it up here because it's pretty dark and I still gotta drive this tractor home. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmertylerranch.